webinar. Today we're going to learn about selling online and what you need to know. So let's jump right in, shall we? I'm Jane Clark. I'm the co-founder and creative director of Brand Swan. I've been designing websites for a really long time, and we got some awards. Brand Swan makes beautiful brands, savvy websites, and marketing that matters. So here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking about an e-commerce platform versus a marketplace. We're going to talk about the comparisons of some common platforms, some tips to kind of get you started, product listing, shipping, social media promotion, and all that good stuff. So we're going to tackle first the platform versus the marketplace. So here's a list of some platforms. Now, to explain the difference between these is Amazon versus Etsy or eBay. I'll use eBay as an example. So Amazon is self-hosted. They sell all their stuff through their own platform at Amazon.com. Well, when you go to eBay, you're seeing a lot of sellers selling on there. So eBay is more like a platform that people go to and sell their wares. And obviously they take a cut of the transactions and they make money in their own way. One of the benefits of going to a marketplace is that it already brings the audience to you. So if someone were to type in, let's say, custom shoes, if you were to type that into Google, you're going to get a lot of listings and maybe not even relevant listings. But when you search that on eBay, you're going to find that it really narrows it down, and the chance of someone finding what you're selling is greater. So there's definitely pros and cons for each, and we'll go into that. All right, so e-commerce platform, it's standalone, and people visit your website to purchase products. What this means is that you're in control of everything. So you want to put it on your hosting account, and unless you're getting a lot of traffic, a shared hosting account is usually just fine, and I'll go into the ones I recommend. You can get up and running quickly, and they handle payments for you. That's really great. So for example, let's say you're using PayPal. PayPal takes care of all that. So you can integrate it with your website and you don't even have to worry about all that stuff. The downside is that you can't move your site anywhere without redoing it. So if their platform is proprietary, again, like Wix or Squarespace or Shopify, you can't just sort of take it and move it. You have to rebuild it into a different program if you want to self-host. So again, self-hosted, you're in control, but it does take a little bit of time to set up. So usually you want to hire a developer, they'll integrate it with all sorts of stuff. You can even integrate it with your internal inventory system if that's something you're interested in. There is a bigger upfront investment because they have to kind of set all that up for you. And you do have to worry about PCI compliance, which is payment card industry. They have certain requirements if you're keeping and storing credit card information. So if you're using a hosted platform, they take care of that all for you and you don't even have to worry about it. If you get hacked, it's not your problem because it's their system that got hacked, not yours. So again, there are pros and cons, but if you want total control and lots of options, then typically the self-hosted is the way to go. Here are the best platforms I recommend. First of all is WooCommerce. This one is really popular and it works best with WordPress sites, and that's self-hosted. Shopify, honestly, is probably the #1 platform for selling products. It's the one that I typically recommend for startup companies who are more product-based and brand-based. So for example, people might recognize them more for their products than actually the name of their company. So in that case, having a platform that specializes in selling products is in their benefit. Squarespace, very easy drag and drop builders, easy to use. It is attractive. Some of the downsides that you might not have as many options if you were to self-host it. Wix is actually good for making large websites. I don't particularly care for the way their templates look. They're a little dated looking, but it is the best function for e-commerce. BigCommerce, this is for bigger businesses and enterprises. and you are self-hosting this. So an example might be, let's say you're running a tile or flooring company. You have so many products, thousands. So that would be when you want to probably bring in BigCommerce. Weebly is another example, but it's for simple websites and portfolios. And Magento, this one's really for developers, and it's, if you're going to use a different CRM than WordPress, people do recommend Magento for e-commerce. I personally don't have any experience with it because it's never been, WordPress has never hindered my e-commerce, so it's just something that I haven't really used. If you like the interface better, feel free. I will say though that you will have a problem finding developers, as most developers don't really go for Magento. They're not experts. They might know enough to kind of be dangerous and get in there, but but typically if you go with WordPress, you're all set, honestly. Okay. I want to know what platform you guys are currently using. What platform are you guys using or thinking of using? Etsy's a good one. Etsy's great, especially if you're doing crafty. WordPress is good. GoDaddy, I'm gonna grumble on that one. I used to be a huge GoDaddy fan about over a decade ago, but recently their resources just hasn't been as generous as others, so I find they don't run as well. Cool. All right. So very few people. So you guys are use Poshmark. I have not heard of that one. I'm gonna have to look into that one. Poshmark. All right, cool. Yep. So a lot of you using some mainstream ones and you threw in a couple different ones. And honestly, some things are worth exploring. I found a great website for photographers called Pixpa, and I'll type that into the chat. Pixpa, that allows a lot of different features, not only to sell your photos, but also watermark them and all sorts of fun stuff. So if you're a photographer, check that one out. Okay, so let's talk about the e-commerce platforms and the comparisons. I recommend you start with must-have. So for example, let's say you're selling shirts. You know that the shirts have to have multiple sizes and multiple colors. So that might be your number one must-have. Perhaps you don't want to go to a platform where each size and color is its own product, and now you're selling one t-shirt, but you have like 12 products for it because it's taking consideration all the size and color combos. So yeah, definitely check out the features list. All right. Based on popularity here, check it out. 38% uses WooCommerce, 20% uses Shopify, 10% Magento, OpenCart even smaller, e-commerce even smaller, and other. So actually, I think the other is 38%. WooCommerce is 25%. So basically, the other 38% of the pie is just a bunch of random that they didn't anticipate. So just to give you an idea. But there's lots of solutions out there. Okay, so here is a really great chart. And again, you'll get a copy of this in the presentation. Shopify is a subscription-based service, so you'd pay monthly for it. You can use your own custom domain. Most of them you can. And some of them, I think like Wix.com will give you a free website where you're not really using a custom domain name, but splurge on the custom domain name because it just makes it that much more legit. You know, if you're using a weird address, people are going to think you aren't doing well because you can't afford a $12 domain. So take that leap, commit to a domain name, and it's just gonna help your sales so much. So Shopify, you do have product management features. So it really, it helps you know, again, whether each product is its own SKU or if it's just an option. Order management, handles shipping, multiple payment gateways. What that means is that you can hook up Stripe, PayPal, Google Pay. They have options for you. They do have basic customer management, which means like someone takes an order and you can go back and see that person's activity. So that's an example of customer management. WooCommerce, again, it's standalone. I don't actually recommend Bluehost. I probably recommend SiteGround. Bluehost is okay, but I've noticed that they don't really have an upgrade. So if your site needs like more resources, it just tells you to remove things, which I kind of think defeats the purpose of like having a really cool website, you know? So another positive again is that's part of your existing WordPress. So you're not, and it's deeply integrated and it's beautiful. And it's integrated with a lot of themes as well. So it's going to look really natural in your WordPress site. Again, a lot of these have the same features, multiple payment gateways, order management, that kind of thing. Let's see here. Let's start talking about the different things because a lot of this stuff, again, is like the basics. Here we go. This is when it comes, here's where the fun part comes in, I think, and that's the look. Okay, so Shopify has over 100 professional themes, plus a lot more third-party where you actually buy them, and they can range in between $50 to $100 or $300, maybe $400. With Shopify, I would definitely pick the theme that you like right out of the box and not try to customize it because it uses its own code base, and finding a developer is going to be a pain in the butt. So I would just find a theme you like and stick with it and not try to change it too much. You're going to want to pull your hair out. But if you're feeling crazy, don't let me stop you. Let's see here. WooCommerce, again, they have thousands of themes and it integrates with your design as well. Wix has over 800 themes. BigCommerce has some themes, and Magento has over 100. So step one, find out what your product features must-haves are. And then two, make sure that you like the way the site looks, because if you don't like any of the themes that you see, you're not going to like your website. So definitely take a look at the themes that are available and the way the products look. If it's not mobile friendly, don't use it. It's ancient. Mobile friendly is kind of a given by now. One other thing that I'm not sure is mentioned here is that different platforms handle SEO better, and SEO stands for search engine optimization. So what you're going to find is that you might want to rank for a key phrase, but they don't have advanced tools. So the only thing you can really do is just sort of optimize your copy. So if ranking is important to you, make sure that these platforms at least have that addressed. Last but not least, you're going to find that some of these integrate with the point of sale and some of them don't. So if that's important to you, make sure that they integrate. For example, Shopify does. WooCommerce, you can buy extensions or add-ons, and yeah, so you can integrate with all sorts of stuff. Okay, now I have a cool thing going over here where I'm using both a hosted and a self-hosted option to create print-on-demand products. So I have my WordPress set up and I'm using WooCommerce to sell those products, but I also have a hosted Printify site where I can create coffee mugs and t-shirts and everything with our logo on it. And when I publish that, it automatically gets published to my WooCommerce as now on my website, but this hosted website is printing on my product. So that's really cool integration. So yeah, you can have some pretty complicated setups just depending on, again, what you're looking for. But I thought it was pretty easy to set up actually. So it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Okay, here's an example of Printify. So it's basically white labeled. So it's like, okay, well, here's some shirts you can get, and then you can sell them as a product. And they have all sorts of fun stuff, notepads and whatever you think of. And here's what it looks like in the back end. When you're adding a product, you can publish it to your store. It's super easy to use. So now that we kind of looked at the overview of what a e-commerce platform is, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into these places. So for Shopify, and again, this is where I send most people when they're just starting out and they're mostly focused on selling products. So prices start about $29. And there are some advantages. So you can socially sell, have a Facebook shop and connect all that. It's fully hosted, so you don't have to worry about anything, not server maintenance, not updates, not PCI compliance, nothing. It's very easy to use. I think they have a great selection of themes, especially if you're willing to pay for them. I think their transaction fees are pretty low. And they already have like an engaged community. So it's really active. If you have questions, you're gonna find someone who can help you. And they have a lot of add-ons for third-party integrations. So last but not least, the big cool part of this is that it supports offline selling. So if you have we have a client, for example, who does go-karting and axe throwing. So when people come in, they can still pay, and it goes into the system that they also have online, so they can kind of keep track of everything in one place. All right, here's some cons. So there are some additional transaction fees if you're using an external gateway. So there are some it probably considers like, included payment gateways, and there's some like we can do it, but we're going to charge you because it's paying the payment gateway. It does have transaction fees, and I think that's the gist of it. You can't like call them, so you have to wait a little while if you want some support. It's not like super rapid. So again, really great for startups, however. Here's some pros. Kind of talked about this. The biggest one is just being, well, no transaction fees. That's a big one. It is fully hosted. So again, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. The designs are beautiful. It does have great marketing features. So it is a decent, and this one's also $26 a month. Squarespace cons. There isn't a point of sale feature that you can have in your store to kind of connect on it. So it's not solely focused on e-commerce, which means it's not going to be super robust. It doesn't have any phone support, and there are some limits to it. Wix, prices start at $18 a month. Again, they have their own advantages as well, selling through the stores. Fully hosted, don't got to worry about anything, easy to use. They do have a free forever plan, but I don't think you can use a custom domain with it. So just forget that, pretend it's not free, and just upgrade to their premium. You'll thank me later. And it does accept multiple payment methods, which is cool. So they're very competitive. Why they're not competitive. Once again, they don't have a point of sale that syncs with it. Some of the design options are really overwhelming. It's not super user friendly. It can do more, but it's a little rough around the edges. And again, Wix is usually just for building standard sites, so it doesn't focus solely on e-commerce. WooCommerce Pros, I can't say enough about this. I think it's really plug and play. It has like a wizard to walk you through. It integrates with so much. Integrates with MailChimp. So when someone, for example, let's say they add something to your cart and then they don't check out, then all of a sudden MailChimp will send them an email the next day that says, hey, don't forget that this thing's in your cart. So the cool stuff that you can make it do is, well, cool. Again, great for people who want WordPress. It's open source, so there's lots of things that integrate with it, which is why I love it. And an active community of developers and experts. So if you want something and it's not done, then someone can do it for sure. I will say though that when you have a WordPress update, there are instances where I found that they're a little out of sync and you can't purchase a product, but I will say that they update rather quickly within a couple of days, and usually that fixes itself. But just to be aware that when you have multiple add-ons working with each other, you can break your site if you're not careful. And you have to know WordPress in order to really work it. So it's free, but the add-ons could run high. So for example, let's say you want a custom checkout field. There's an add-on for that. Memberships, there's an add-on for that. Reoccurring payments, there's an add-on for that. To take a deposit, you can actually have, I love this part, you can actually have an add-on that will take an upfront deposit on a larger product. They have that, and of course that costs money. So just make sure that whatever your must-haves are, just sort of look and see what they are price-wise before you get too deep into it. I think easily you could have a $200 to $300 annual plugin update price. Now it's annual. Once you buy it, you don't have to keep buying it, but if you wanted to stay in sync with your WordPress and be nice and compatible and secure, you do need it every year, so that we can keep getting those updates. Okay, here's my top 5. SiteGround is my favorite platform for self-hosted. They have a free SSL, or which is a little padlock at the top. If you went to my last webinar, you probably heard a little bit about that. Flywheel, Media Temple, InMotion, DreamHost, all of these are good. All of these are good. If your website's really simple and you're not on these platforms, that's okay. But if you want your website to kind of move and scroll and be more dynamic, I would definitely stick to these people. Okay, I'm going to take questions now. Oh boy. Okay, give me a moment. Bob says, we just moved to SiteGround hosting and I like it a lot so far. Yes, I like them too. The only con is that they're so on edge, they're almost bleeding edge, you know, like they kind of push the PHP limit to make sure their servers are secure, but there are some plugins that haven't quite made the leap yet, and then they come out of sync, but then they're not secure anyway. So, you know, it kind of forces the web to have better technology, even though it might cause us a little bit of headaches every now and then. Veronica, hi, do any of these platforms allow for loyalty rewards customer programs? That's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head with like things like Etsy or Shopify. I will say though that I'm pretty certain WooCommerce has an add-on for that. And I will look that up after the call and see if I can't find that. Bigcartel.com, I know nothing about Small Bits Philly. What's up? You again. What about bigcartel.com? I don't know anything about that one. Not a thing, but I will next time we talk. Veronica, Veronica again says, just attended a Wix webinar and they said the platform does have point of sale, but maybe that means something different. Does Wix allow for customers to purchase directly from website and include all associated taxes, expenses, etc.? Yes. Yeah, so point of sale basically means like an actual, you know, when you like go to, you're shopping for clothes, you go to the register, and then they put your credit card through, like they have a point of sale system. I don't know if it syncs with Wix's or not. So you would have 2 different systems, one for your online sales and one for your in-store sales versus them being one and the same. As of, I'm gonna say 3 to 6 months ago, I didn't see that with Wix, but now I'm just gonna have to check to see if that's still accurate. So thank you for that. Come on, guys, ask me questions I know. This is embarrassing. Okay. All right, I think I got through all the questions. Oh, no, I didn't. I lied. How easy would it be to move from Squarespace to WordPress as an e-commerce platform in a later time? And would a point of sale for services-based company be okay for Squarespace platform? So I would say that even if you're on WordPress, right, and you want to kind of maybe have a different look that has a different theme, you have to rebuild it. So if you have a pretty small website in Squarespace and then you build it in WordPress, I would say it's like the same amount of work, you know? So you're going to have the WordPress installed, then you're going to have the theme, and then you build within that theme. I typically recommend Divi because it could just do so much. And I think, and a lot of developers work with it as well. So I would say at any point you use a platform that's hosted like Squarespace, you're going to reach that point where you're like, when have I outgrown it? And if it's working for you and meets all of your needs, there's no reason why you need to move. But if you want your website to do more and almost be like a personal assistant, for example, I have people booking through my website and things with my calendar, which is awesome, right? So, and that saved me hours a week just booking clients. So think of it like that. When you want to make the plunge, just think about what your goals are and then see whatever platform has that. I hope that answers your question. Rebecca says Lightspeed point of sale works great with WooCommerce. Okay. Good to know. All right. I'm moving on. Here we're doing it. What about the point of sale question? I think I answered that. One second. And would point of sale for a service-based company be okay for Squarespace platform? If you're just taking your money online, there's no reason why you need like a point of sale in your, when I say point of sale, I mean it's not like an actual register like in your store. So if you are a services-based company, some people honestly just use their website to take payments like any client could pay. So you don't necessarily have to have an actual point of sale to sell service-based stuff. You can just use, people use Square, people love Square. Or again, you can just, if they're in front of you and you want to take their payment, just go on the website and walk them through and do that. Would Squarespace be okay for using the point of sale for online payment, reservations, and rebates? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if Squarespace is that advanced. Because that sounds like it might be like a third-party plugin where it's, so what I would do is I would go to the place where you're trying to book the reservation and they would have its integrations listed there. Yeah, so go there and see what they connect with and then reverse engineer that. All right, one more, I'll take one more question. The 5 sites are the ones I recommend for self-hosted platforms. Yeah. All right, let's talk about marketplaces. Whoops, went too fast. Okay, these you probably know. There were some actually on here that I did not know about. Is there any here that you guys don't recognize? So an e-commerce marketplace, so they offer a platform that all the sellers join to sell their merchandise. So things like Etsy, you know, they're known for handmade unique gifts, right? So, or people who are just, yeah, I would just say crafty in nature. And if you make things in small batches, that's a great place for Etsy. So if someone's looking for, you know, like rose-scented soap, and they type that into Google, they're going to get so much, right? But if they type in hand-scented soap in Etsy, the chance of you actually getting your product in there is much, much higher. So it's almost like a search engine for you, for people looking for very certain thing. Obviously, if you're not hand making your stuff, let's say you're reselling items from thrift stores, Etsy isn't going to be the best place for you because people aren't going there. eBay might be better. So yes, here we go. We have Twitch, SoundCloud, YouTube, Yelp, Spotify, goods, Amazon, services like Uber, Airbnb, Booking.com. Now the services for Airbnb, for example, even though they are selling a service, even though it's a house, because the people who have a room in their house or selling their house for Airbnb are actually, it's a service they provide. Yeah. I'm gonna cough for just one sec. All right, I'm refreshed. Yeah. And then investment and fundraising, Kickstarter, and a couple more. Yeah. So again, these help bring people to you, and that's why they cost more. So here's some pros. They're usually very easy to set up. I mean, a couple clicks. That doesn't mean that, you know, you take the shortcut and do a couple clicks and your site's up, that you don't go back and finesse it, because content is what drives people to your site. If you don't have any, they're going to leave very quickly and you're going to lose that sale. So don't forget to go back and kind of fill in the blanks that you might have skipped setting up. But they do handle all the payment processing, again, like PCI compliance, and they do all the marketing to bring customers to the site, which gives you higher visibility, and the industry specific ones even more so. And they can sometimes replace a need for a website. I have a friend who has the biggest soap company I've ever seen. She started on Etsy and then she moved to her website. And she could only do that once she gained a following. So this could be a transitory step for you if, again, selling products is going to be more of a focus for you. Cons, they do take a big chunk of the profits, right? Etsy has a listing fee. You don't have control over how your store looks. You might have a couple of options, but other than that, you know, maybe you can upload a banner, but other than that, you're kind of stuck with how they want to experience. So for example, I ordered a cool tablecloth from Etsy, but because their platform didn't really know how to handle it, I had to use a third-party website to upload my files to them so they could actually print my thing. And that's not very user-friendly. They somehow managed it, but that's one of the, again, downsides of it. There's not a whole lot of options for customization, which usually results in, well, custom products that they put up. And the need for outside communication to personalize the orders, which I just explained. And they don't have great SEO. They just don't. All right, so tip. Pick a marketplace that makes sense for your industry. And again, if you do well, you can always outgrow it, and that's okay. So tell me in chat, what marketplace are you using or thinking of using? Again, this is hosted, not self-hosted. What marketing place are you thinking or thinking of using? Small biz, Phil, big cartel. I'm gonna know all about that next time we talk. Okay, we're gonna move on. But if you can remember, put it in the chat. Yeah, thinking of Etsy, it's a good one. You guys are testing me. Yeah, Shopify's hosted, Heather, so that's a good option. Let me go ahead and answer some more questions that I'm getting. I am not familiar with Big Cartel. Like I've heard of it, but I know nothing about it. Now it's like a personal challenge and I must research it. Local state and federal contracts and local business for training programs. Okay. Do we offer mentorship? We do have an internship program. I'm not quite sure if that's what you meant. Or sometimes what we do for people is we build them a strategy and then they can kind of run with it once we find the solutions for them. Feel free to message me after this if you want help. And I also have to learn about Poshmark, guys, so thank you. Okay, so what's the difference between a marketplace and a platform? Platform is just sort of I'm using interchangeably. That just means like addition to or starting point. So a marketplace again is a platform you would join with other sellers and they would get the marketing and the audience and they would come to you that way, versus a hosted solution, self-hosted, where you are actually hosting it on your server and you are the marketplace. All right, let me scroll down here. All right. You're welcome, Heather. I think so. You guys are catching me slipping today. I like it. Okay, so here's my plan for getting started. They just info dumped you guys, right? Take it from me, try before you buy. It's okay to make 12 accounts so you can test drive what it is that you're going to be using. It's okay, trust me. I've done it. There's new technology every day, and sometimes they're misses, and sometimes they're just, you're like, where have you been all my life? So when you're planning to sell online, here's a great starting point. Make sure you have a domain name. Figure out if it's a platform or marketplace. Accept payments. And then you need to figure out your ship or deliver download. And with the shipping, it can be, am I going to include the price in the shipping and then just have free shipping? I'm putting that free shipping, air quotes. Or is there a flat rate for shipping? Or do they get a discount if they spend a certain amount of money? Or you can even, there's even plugins that you can add from FedEx and UPS where they enter their zip code and it automatically calculates what it would be to ship the product. And then they pay that. So basically you're kind of offering the service, but you're not paying the shipping out of your own pocket and you're not getting the shipping money. So that's kind of cool. And of course, the integration part. So this is the starting here. Step 0, research, research, research. Who are your competitors? Is your idea viable? What do shoppers expect from the experience? Do people want your product or service? And I'm going to say, like, this is the biggest one for me. And I've turned down clients because I don't feel like they're like, okay, I'm going to spend $10,000 on a website. And I'm trying to say, well, why don't they just go to Amazon and do it? And then when they can't answer that question, usually what I do is I say, okay, well, let's spend our money on branding. Define that unique value proposition, makes you different or better. And then we can fit that into the site and the product. So step 0 is definitely research. Figure out if you actually have a product that people want. So you're really spending your dollars wisely. What problem are you solving? Step 1 is the planning. So what internal systems are you going to use? And can your online store even integrate with it? How are you going to track your inventory? How are you going to ship it out? Are you going to have a warehouse and people do it for you? Like a distribution center, or are you going to ship it out of your house? Are you going to pre-buy everything and ship it that way? Or are you going to do it on demand? So figure that out first. Step 2, build your brand and your unique value proposition. And I guess this one's really important. I might have gone step -1 on this one. I've already said this one, but how is your store different and better? Why do people care? What problems are you trying to solve and what makes you better? I can't stress this enough that in a market where it's so crowded and you just want to be seen, right? The way to be seen in a crowded market is to have something unique and to solve a problem. So if you can answer those questions, you're going to do so much better. Step 3, come up with a good domain name. Something memorable, nothing too long, and fight the urge to get a .biz or a .net because .com isn't available. Get creative. When you have like a .net or a .biz, people think immediately, oh, this person had the same idea as a .com but couldn't get the .com. So somehow the value of your service has already dropped. So fight the urge. Okay, example, client. Their name is Bavarian Bakery. Well, that's a common name because that's like a type of bakery in Germany. So what happens? Instead of having Bavarian Bakery.biz or whatever, we went with yourfavoritebakery.com. So it's cute, it's memorable, and yeah, yourfavoritebakery.com. So get creative with these. And there's a lot of really cool extensions too now. For example, our website is brandswan.design. So there's a lot of cool extensions you can use. All right, step 4, the shopping experience. Very important. What kind of products or services are you selling? What options do they have? Really figure out that stuff so that you can determine what platform you're going to use. Step 5, don't forget shipping or how downloads get to the buyer. Do they automatically get an email when the order is done? Do they go to a page where they can download it? Figure out what that experience is like. Then you want to fine tune the experience. Test, test, and test again. Yes. Test, test, and test again. Because if you get calls from people and they're saying they can't check out and you say, well, it works for me, what's going to happen? They're just going to leave and you just lost a customer. Now that's going to happen. You know, even Amazon has bad days, but I guess they would probably come back to Amazon the next day. But if they're just trying you out and it doesn't work, you know, they're going to just move on. So make sure that this is working. If you make a big update, test it and make sure it's still working correctly. Marketing. So I can make you the best website ever. You can have the coolest products ever, but if you don't market it, no one's going to know you exist. So there are 3 ways to get traffic to your store. The first one is SEO. And again, that's through Google and Bing. Marketplaces. You can start there, like in Etsy and eBay, and even Amazon third party. Get reviews. Definitely ask for reviews. Small Biz Philly, no, you don't start with paid ads first. Oh boy, I disagree with that one. For the first time, I disagree with you. Social media, slow burn. Social media is great, but it's not going to be that instantaneous result you're looking for. It's more about brand awareness and brand building and finding out who your target market is and then building that account. So definitely start, but don't expect you to get like something from a post unless you're selling like a pair of shoes. I might see an ad 3 or 4 times before I decide to buy that pair of shoes I'm seeing on Facebook. So just keep that in mind. Questions? Okay. All right, first question. Theme forest is great. Okay, let's scroll down, blah, blah. Guys, stop talking. I can't get there. Okay. You guys have great questions today, by the way. Okay. Theme forest is great. Great for themes. Just make sure that your WordPress is super secure with Loganizer, WP URL hide, word fence if you have the resources, because they're so popular that they have some vulnerabilities. So just make sure you're all buttoned up when you use them. Shopify is good. Yes. You build your community through sales on social media platforms. Yep, that works. SEO. So, gosh, I've been doing SEO for a long time, and it used to be that way where it take a long time to get results, but now it's about 4 to 6 weeks to get results. So you can really trial and error it, and if you don't get results within like 3 months, then it's time to do paid ads. But I just find you burn so much money that way. So I also think it depends on the industry. I won't do SEO for anyone, for example, a real estate agent. I won't do SEO for them because they're never going to rank. Yeah, and they have to be willing to pay big bucks for the click. And the real estate market, I guess, is very competitive. But you know, again, just start somewhere and then troubleshoot. I find that paid ads isn't quite instantaneous. Again, people need to see it, and I guess it depends on what you're selling too. The more expensive it is, you're gonna have to court them for a while. I might court someone for like 1.5 years before they become a client. So it's hard to kind of track that for marketing. Any questions about marketing while I'm on the slide? Okay, moving on. We'll come back. Step 8, utilize your tools and add-ons. So for the platforms that have free or buyable add-ons, please use them. There's also some coupon codes that you can take or use to drive promotions. So for example, let's say you're doing a mailer and say, hey, you know what, you get $5 off of this code, then they go to the website and use it, and now you know how successful that campaign was. So that's super helpful, right? So it can definitely help you track your efforts. Oops. All right, here's some really cool plugins, extensions, and add-ons. that you can probably get with most companies, maybe not, definitely WordPress. Shopify does have some third-party ones. But yeah, you can do contact forms. You can integrate with your content relationship management system, client relationship management system. I prefer 17 Hats, but there's lots of them out there that's really good. And they integrate. So when someone fills out a form on your website, it automatically goes into your CRM, which is awesome. Booking systems, membership portals, inventory tracking, shipping calculators, lead capturing forms, of course. You can add social media feeds. You can track the effectiveness of your Facebook and SEO campaigns, and search features and category listings like directories. There's so forums. I could go on and on with all the cool stuff you can use to build a community on your website, or to just give people valuable information and then to think of you when they want to proceed with that. Okay, we're back to questions. I already have some. Okay. Which platform does a shipping calculation collection for you again? I'm going to say probably lots of platforms have that. I want to say that for Shopify, it might be like a enterprise feature. They have that on, but yeah, I'll Google it and find out because I'm curious. Definitely WordPress, that integrates with WooCommerce. So if that's super important to you, definitely see which one that integrates with. Kind of like backwards engineering. Marketing question. How do you separate yourself from the competition? Boy, oh boy. In what respect? Like in general or on the web? Narrow it down for me. Geez, I'm gonna need more water. Okay, so Small Biz Philly says, marketing question, how do you separate yourself from the competition? And what products are the products that we're offering? Geez, well, in my line of work, my unique value proposition is that we're women-owned companies. So that's one of them. 2, we do with our brand and our brand voice, and our values and what we represent and our social media. So we kind of wear that on our sleeve. And I would say using our slogan, we like to help people who do work that matters. Gosh, and honestly, there's a lot of great designers here. So and they're all my friends actually, because gosh, I guess all of us creative people tend to be friends. So we just have about finding the right fit, I think. Because if someone's not the right fit for us, we might recommend them to someone else. But yeah, it's more about just finding people who want what you're offering. Okay, we got some more questions. Let's see what time it is. Okay, good. I got 10 minutes. Veronica asks, for someone who is not very savvy social media and honestly hates doing it, is there any other way to get the word out with the same level of success? For a slow burn, email newsletter would be my second best. What industry are you in, Veronica? Can I ask? Resale. Boy, that's a tough one. Do you offer online services or are they more like tangible items in your hand? Okay. Honestly, I would send out the email newsletter with the coupons and stuff. That's really the best way. But if you want people to be excited about your product, they need social proof. So having people, you could even do a challenge. This is a freebie. You could even do a challenge that says, hey, post a picture of you wearing our clothes with the hashtag business name is awesome, and we'll give you $10 off your next order or something. So think about how to get people involved and do the work for you. That might be a way to kind of get around the fact you hate doing it. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Samuel, always asking good questions. How may we consider approaching analytics in best determining how our e-commerce platform are working well? That's an interesting question. I always say the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Are you making money? Are you getting sales? And then I would start noticing things. For example, are you only getting sales when there are discounts? Is that cheapening your product? Trying to think what else. So finding out when people tend to buy, is it around, you know what I mean? And then doing a more heavy campaign. So for example, let's say you are I'm stuck with clothing company today. You're a clothing company and you know you're going to sell more you know, around the springtime when people are getting married in the summer, you know, things like that. You're going to notice those patterns and you're just going to do your best in those seasons. But yeah, that's how I would approach it. When are you selling the most? If your sales go down, why is that? Are certain ones doing better than others? And then selling more of those things that people are looking for. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, guys, I think that might be it. Real fast. If you want to schedule a call with me, please feel free. There's a free consultation. You're going to come to a page looks like this. Just do the schedule time with Jane, the free one. I'm happy to talk with you for a little bit about what you're doing. If you also want to join our Facebook group, feel free to pop in. We answer questions and just, you know, offer each other support where we can. References to everything I mentioned, and that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Jane. As we are wrapping up here, I'm going to post a link in the chat. It's a link to a survey that takes less than 1 minute. It's just feedback about today's webinar, which helps us for future webinars, and it is also required by our funders. So I'm going to post that right now. Just give me 1 minute. All right. So if everyone could take a second to fill that out, we would really appreciate it. And yes, I just want to give another thank you to Jane, and thanks you to everyone for coming. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Come to my next one. See you there.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.